Hi, welcome to Happier Ladies. We're sisters who discuss all things related to work, family, and personal growth.
We draw inspiration from everywhere, especially from you, our listeners, to keep moving forward with joy and laughter and the big adventure that is life.
1 week at a time.
I'm Azizi Williams. I live and work in the LA area. I'm a mom of 2, soon to be an empty nester, and I'm an education professional in the independent school world. I'm here with my sister, Malika Amandi.
That's me. I'm a SoCal native living in Western Massachusetts, a newish mom, and I work in higher ed.
In this episode, we continue with part 2 of our life update.
But first, Azizi.
Yes, Malika.
While you were here, you managed to have crumble cookies delivered to our house.
Yes, you're welcome. I hesitated because I was like, am I going to unleash this on them? And now they're going to always have access to crumble? Or should I let them go on believing it's not possible where they live?
It was a good surprise. I don't know how you did it. Maybe that shop popped up since I did my research, but it was like being at your house.
It was very easy. It's a national chain, and probably no one is far from a crumble cookie delivery. And man, their app is so good. It's so fast and delightful.
That wasn't my problem. I was just like using the internet. I should have just downloaded the app.
Yeah, download the app. I mean, it's also on Postmates. You know, when you're looking for something, you have to go through all the food delivery services because they have different things on different ones. But I have since crossed over to the Crumble app. And the thing about it is they change their flavors every week. And sometimes they're like related to pop culture or topical or seasonal. And that adds to the whimsy of it all.
Yeah. So smart. Well, thank you for bringing that delight into our kitchen.
You're welcome. Actually, I wanted to have it when you guys got home from the hospital. I felt like the moment needed something special. So
Yeah.
I was glad to have that. And then we could like munch on it all night long.
You just leave the box out and then like somehow overnight another little piece is gone and then another little piece and
Little piece by little piece. Yeah.
it was yummy.
Glad you liked it.
Now it's time for Let's Catch Up again, where we share something with each other that we've been thinking about lately. So this week, we're going to dive into Azizi's perspective on the birth, the days afterwards, and what was going on at home while I was at the hospital.
Yes. Well, it was really interesting to hear what you were experiencing and what your journey was. And of course, I was there for parts of it. And I think I shared last time that it was sudden,
Yeah.
it was unexpected when you had to go into the hospital and sort of how you had to go to the hospital. I was also unprepared to have to be full time. I knew that's why I was there and I knew it was coming eventually, but we had a few more days of training that were
Yeah.
left before I was going to feel officially trained. So that was sudden, but thankfully Norm put together this long notes app with lots of detail and I had practiced the bedtime routine, which, by the way, your bedtime routine, Malika, deserves a whole other segment. It is tight. You guys, wow. I was so impressed with your routine and how Indigo has taken to it. There were detailed notes down to the minutes of what to do and how to do it. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you're doing pickup today. It's all you. And I think you guys sweetly left a message for Indigo at his preschool so that he knew what was going to happen
Yeah.
before he got there. And so I was thrust into being the guardian for a toddler for the first time in like 16 years or something like that. It's been a long time since I was the care provider full time for a 2.5-year-old. But we had a great time and I learned some things.
So, Azizi, what are some of the things that you learned in your toddler life? Toddler caregiving life, I should say.
Yes, under the category of snacks and food, I made a rookie mistake, which is I was not prepared to treat the toddler like a toddler.
Mm,
I showed up at preschool, and mind you, I was working from home, so I had Zooms and meetings and things like that I had to get through that were already scheduled. So I went to pick him up. I was thinking about how to get there and where it's at and all of that. And I pick up Indigo. He was very sweet. A shout out to his teachers. They are also amazing. And everyone was upbeat. And as soon as we got in the car, Indigo's like, "What snack did you bring me?" And I panicked because I did not bring him any
I'm
snack.
impressed that he didn't ask you that when you came to the pickup. Like, I get that question as soon as he sees my face.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I think the shock of seeing my face, there's a lot of other things to get through and process before we got to the car, but certainly once we were in the car and buckled up, the very first question was like, "What'd you bring me? What's for snack?" And I was like, "Oh, snack. I didn't bring a snack, Malika. How silly is that?" First of all, I'm sure it was in the note
Yeah,
to bring a snack. And second of all, I should know that when someone comes home from school, especially a 2-year-old, they're going to need a snack. So I had to apologize, and we talked about the snacks we would have when we got home. And then this happened again, and this happened again when we had a long play date. It was a weekend day, he didn't have school. Oh my goodness, when there's no school, that's rough.
it
It's
is.
it's so much work. It's so much physical work and emotional work to care for a toddler. So I was able to take him so that this you were already home with baby at this point and there was a lot going on. And so I took him to a far off play date. It took us some time to get out of the door and it ended up being longer from breakfast than I thought. And I had packed snacks, but he went through those snacks so quickly
Mm,
and then he had a play date. So we had this museum visit and then followed up with a play date. And I thought the snacks were going to be enough to kind of get him through. And he was still hungry. And he's like, "I want more. I'm still hungry." I didn't bring lunch. I should have packed lunch. Like, you should pack more food than you actually need. That was the lesson for me is always pack more than you think you're going to need. And it turns out the things I packed were like all cheese related, like fishy crackers and like the cheese that comes in the red wax thing. And he had some milk. It was like a lot of dairy and a lot of fiber. But I discovered that at Dunkin' Donuts, which are plentiful in your neck of the woods, they're kind of everywhere. They have something called snacking bacon, which is just a side of bacon. This bacon is like it's kind of maple glaze, but the maple is really light and it's got some peppercorn, also very light, and it's just a delicious hit of protein. And boy, did I go through that drive-through once or twice while I had to go. Once or twice, Malika, Duncan saved us and provided some snack and bacon.
that's good to know. We've never done the snack and bacon, but he does like bacon at home.
It's delicious. If you're a meat eater, bacon is delicious, and so I just shout out to Dunkin' because they also had milk. Like, at one point, I ran out of milk. You can get milk there, and you can get snacking bacon at Dunkin' Donuts. So when we went through the drive-thru, he's like, "Oh, you getting bacon?" He knows a little bit about Dunkin' Donuts now. And then dinner time, it's a time where you want it to go smoothly, and we had a little conversation, but he's also tired, so
Mhm.
you want him to stay focused on eating and not get restless. And I discovered FaceTime and polos, which you always FaceTime me at dinner or at a meal, and I totally get it. It's a great time to connect with family and to keep him engaged while he's eating.
Yeah.
So we called Ilea, we called Sinai. He was like, "Are we gonna call Uncle Grayson?" Unfortunately, with the time change, he was still working, so we couldn't call Uncle Grayson, but watching those polos that you guys sent from the hospital and then catching up with our, family was definitely a dinner time activity that got us through that hairy time
Yeah.
when everyone's tired.
Wow.
So that's the category of food and snacks. It's all about the food and snacks. And then I forgot about the pain of like, what are we going to make for lunch? What are we going to make for
Hmm.
dinner? It's constant, but you guys have those cook unities, which are also fantastic. I'm not sure if we talked about
Yeah.
that
I don't
before.
know if we have, we're not sponsored by them, but it's a product that I actually use. So it's similar to Factor, or it's like a meal that is already prepared that's delivered. So we just kind of have a certain number that come every week automatically. And that helps a ton with what's for dinner. It's just like if there's one of those in the fridge, that's what's for dinner. And Indigo will eat whatever we give him.
He's a pretty adventurous
He
eater.
is. I'm really grateful for that. I hope it lasts.
I'm sure it will. That made things a lot easier. So
Yeah.
whatever I was eating or whatever was in the cook unity, he was down.
Yeah.
And he also likes sparkling water, which is fun. I'm
Mhm.
glad we could share that love together. And you guys add it to regular water, so that cuts the
Yeah.
spice, the sparkliness, I guess, a little bit and gives it the flavor. So those were the meals and food. That's all that I learned there.
What about for, like, playtime and bedtime, like, those routines?
Yeah, again, the hatch light that you have
Mm.
that it turns green when it's time to get ready for bed and when you have playtime. And then I think you've programmed it for like an hour later, it turns red, and that means it's time to get in the bed.
Mhm.
And he responds to that. And so that helped us all stay on on task. It wasn't just for him, that helped me. And I was thinking maybe I need a hatch light
Maybe
that
that
turns
could help
red.
you.
Maybe that could help me because with it also there were some sounds, like soothing sounds that came, and then it turns green again in the morning when he can get out of bed and it has like birds chirping. The hatch light was kind of like another person that
Mhm.
was helping move our routine along. So that was really helpful in that whole process of the bedtime. And for play, you guys have in the backyard the mud kitchen, which I get. I'm not anti mud kitchen. I never have
Yeah.
been. Just the term mud kitchen is something that was not around, even though a sand table has always like kind of been around. But the having a sand table, having a water table, having a hose, oh my gosh, a hose and a 2.5-year-old, that's like hours of fun. You just sit back, you have your hat on, drink your beverage, and watch them just be thrilled. He had a hose, and then he also had a little spray bottle. This
Mm.
was endless excitement and opportunity, car washes, baby washes, watering the pumpkins, just that saved us. So we had a lot of fun playing there, and I'm grateful for the breaks because it's quite exhausting. So his other aunt, Norm's sister, came out for a few hours so I could go watch the F1 movie, and I was so grateful to have that break in the middle of my indigo duty. And then also the preschool community was so wonderful. So many parents came up and congratulated me and Indigo and offered to have a play date or to drop him off or pick him up from
Mm.
school. And so we had a couple of play dates with some classmates and he was excited and they were excited. It was so great. Like it really takes community to parent, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
young children. So that was wonderful.
Wow. It's a lot, Azizi, that you did, kind of on a dime.
It's a lot. And my God, it just the physicalness of it all.
Yeah.
We'll get into. It's a lot, but also it was fun. I enjoyed like listening to children's music again. Lori
Mm.
Berkner, oh, I loved it. It reminded me of my time with my girls. I know all the songs. Indigo and I got to sing together. He loved singing, and that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun also. And I will say I didn't do everything right, and he would kind of give me a look. sometimes sometimes I would just ask him, "You just tell me how to do it. Like, where should I go? Where can I find this?" And he would try to help me, and so he was game also for this time.
Yeah, he doesn't really miss a beat. If you do something differently, he'll point it out, like, "Why did you do that?"
Yes, he knows what's supposed to happen, and when it's not happening, he'll point it out.
All right, well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll hear about maybe some of the more challenging aspects of this time. Azizi, how's your dinner game these days?
Well, Malika, I used to struggle with what to cook for dinner.
You're cooking now?
Okay. Actually, my husband used to struggle with what to make for dinner. I mean, meal planning, grocery lists, yuck. But then we found Prep Dish. It's a weekly meal planning service that tells you exactly what to cook. And now they've partnered with Instacart, so your grocery list becomes a ready to go online cart.
Oh, what's in your cart, Azizi?
All of the Prep Dish ingredients, plus I can add energy drinks, chili crisp, lipstick, whatever, and check out in just a few clicks. Shopping online is so fun. The meals are family friendly, healthy, and super easy to prep. Dinner is easy to make, and now we look forward to new tasty meals.
Prep Dish is offering our listeners 2 weeks free. Just head to prepdish.com/happierladies to sign up. Again, that's prepdish.com/happierladies.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
And we are back. So, Azizi, when we came back from the hospital, I could tell you were kind of at your limit. Like you were doing things, but I could tell that it was hard.
Well, the thing that happened was I've talked a lot about, and listen, I did not invent parenting toddlers. Like everyone who's got young children knows. Oh, you
Yeah.
all know how hard it is to be a single parent, of a young child, and to have to do it after not having done it for a long time. It was very demanding. And there's just worry like, am I doing it right? Is this the right
Mhm.
way? What happens if he wakes up in the middle of the night? That never
Yeah.
happened, thankfully. And am I going to hear him when it's time for him to get up and make sure we're out on time? So there's a lot of new worries and
Yeah.
things that can just take up space in your brain. And then when you had the baby, but there were all the complications and there was a lot of worry. I had a lot of worry about how that was going and if you were going to be okay. And there was some uncertainty about when you were going to get to come home and what the recovery was going to be like. And so that just put things into extra innings
Yeah.
that no one was expecting. And I think it was after the first night, we got through that first night together. We had the crumble cookies,
We had the
and
cookies.
I'm a night owl. I would take the late shift, so I would stay up to like 1:30 to take the late shift with the baby. And the next day, you weren't feeling well and had to go back to the hospital.
Yeah.
And that was what then put me over the edge.
Yeah.
It was the combination again of like, is she going to be okay? And also, I have to stay on for now these two children
Yeah.
and one less person. And
Yeah.
that's really when I could feel the wall hitting my face.
I'll interject here because that was tough. We had just been home for one night. And then that next day, like towards the early evening, I started to feel really gross. And I had a fever and I had a really terrible headache. And I took a nap and like some ibuprofen, but the headache wouldn't go away. Under normal circumstances, like, wait it out, see what happens. But because I had just had an operation, these are like the two big things they told me to watch out for, right? Like if you get a fever and a big headache, those are big signs of an infection.
Right.
So we contacted the doctor and she was like, yeah, no, you need to go to the hospital. Fortunately, we didn't have to go back to Boston. We were able to go to our local ER and hospital, but it was leaving again. Me and Norm both leaving. Indigo was at a play date. The baby was here. I felt terrible. And also, like, you just don't know in that situation what it is or how bad it's going to be, or maybe it's nothing. And our parents were coming that same night. Like, they had just gotten to the airport. What was the timeline, is easy. We left for the hospital like around 4 or something.
You weren't feeling well. I took Indigo to the Children's Museum. I talked about that already, not having enough snacks and having to figure out the lunch. And then was able to take him to a play date where, I had to bring him in, drop him off there. And then by the time I came back to the house, you guys had decided that you should go in, and the doctor had said that you should go in, and the baby was there. And so I had to watch the baby while you guys were at the hospital. And our parents happened to be flying in at that time also. So they had arrived and they were on their way to the house. But I had to coordinate so that they came to the house so that I could then go get Indigo from the play date and bring him back. It was like, this just boggled me, right? So So just holding all of those details. And by the way, I want to first say I am amazing in a crisis. Okay, I know
You
this about
are.
myself. If you have a crisis, you want me on your team because I'm going to get you through that crisis. And that's what we were in. It was a crisis and we were in it and I was getting through it. I had to coordinate with mommy and daddy to come to the house and I had to quickly catch them up on if the baby woke up while I was out. Mind you, they had never met this baby. They just arrived and all of a sudden it's like telling them all the details of the feeding and the napping and what to do if the baby wakes up. I had to go to the play date. I had to pick up Indigo. And when I went in to pick up Indigo, it's funny. The mom very sweetly offered to give Indigo dinner and to hold him and to watch him until, it was like 6:30 or something, which is close to bedtime. And so I was so grateful for that. When I walked in, he had no clothes on. He had his diaper on and he was in the middle of dinner. And I was like, oh no, I have to like transition him out of this dinner with his friend and get some clothes on and get him in the car. All while everyone was really curious about what was happening, and I didn't wanna give much away, and so I just said, "Oh, you had a doctor's appointment," and, trying
Mm.
to keep things light for Indigo and for the parents, and made it home, and I can't remember if the baby had woken up or not. I don't think the baby had woken up. And then weren't sure if you were gonna be able to make it home at night, and it turned out you needed to stay for the night to
Yeah.
be observed. But then Norm came home and helped out. Norm and I together helped support the baby through the night. And then the next day when you came home, that's when I was done. And I could feel it. It was like a physical sensation. I felt like I was gonna cry.
Mm.
And I couldn't figure out what I needed exactly, but I knew I just needed some time. I had been on for so many days, and that with the lack of sleep through the night,
Yeah.
I could not go on. And so I said, I just need 2 hours. I think I said, I'm going to go away now for 2 hours. I went to the basement. Norm came down to do laundry, and I was like, "Norm, I need 2 hours." He's like, "Okay." He left, and I started journaling.
Mm.
I watched Sleepless in Seattle,
Oh.
cried a little bit, and took some ibuprofen, and then I was out.
Mm.
I was out, and I don't take a nap. We talked about this. I don't sleep easily. I'm a light sleeper. I don't usually take a nap, but man, did I sleep for 2 hours. And when I woke up, I felt so much better.
Mm.
So much better. I recognized that I was just physically and emotionally exhausted. And
Yeah.
you coming back and you feeling better, it just like, okay, now we're in a transition. Now we're transitioning to a new phase of support for you and for the baby and for Indigo. But I have not felt that exhausted, in a long time, maybe since the pandemic or something. It was just such intense fatigue.
Mm. Oh, so that was you still had a week left here
Right.
after that.
Yes, I still had a week left.
What shifted for you, and how did you get through the last week?
We all kind of fell into a rhythm, and I mean, the baby is so cute,
It's
like
cute.
Quincy,
Well,
that helps when you're like, how can you not want to hold the baby? And Indigo is very cute and sweet with his brother. And I think the three of us just fell into a rhythm and routine. You had the night doula. That was fantastic a couple nights a week. And then I discovered Love Island. Now, Love Island is not everyone's cup of tea. I'd been hearing my coworkers kind of talk about it before I left, and I was a little intrigued, but not enough. And then I read an article about it in the New York Times, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch an episode. And I watched an episode. I hated it, but I had to watch the next one. And before you knew it,
you were in and
I was in it, and it was perfect because it's mindless, it's escape, it's like they're on a beautiful tropical island, they're in Fiji. They are wearing no clothes. I mean, you have to get past that a little bit, and it's very raunchy. But also, it's just about relationships and people trying to find
Mm.
connections. And there were 36 episodes, so
Oh
there
my
was like
gosh.
it was a bottomless pit of TV, and when I was alone with the baby, that's what I was doing. It got me through. It really did.
It was fun to kind of watch it a little bit with you, and I got into it a little bit, but it was just the right tone of like, you don't have to pay too close attention. And like, if you get up and go to the bathroom, you're not really going to miss much.
Right. And, like, they're an hour long, the episodes,
Yeah.
and it feels like summer also. So it's like, maybe this is sexy
Mm.
summer. I'm bringing sexy back by watching
Yes.
other people be sexy on Love Island. That's as close as I got. But Malika, there was an episode that you should watch where all the couples were given a baby, like a
Oh, really?
pretend baby that actually acts like a real baby to
That's
care for.
funny.
Made me think of you. You might
That's
like it,
funny.
you may not. It might be too much right now, but
That's funny.
funny episode.
So, Azizi, how has it been since you've been back in California?
Ah, Malika, it's been so nice. So nice. As soon as I got off the plane, it was like
Mm,
dry heat, and I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for you and for our family, but also for the journey I've already been on
yeah.
in my life and the where I'm at now. The next week I'm going to be taking my daughter to college, and I will officially be an empty nester. So I have so much gratitude for all of it, all of the life stages, and
Mm,
for the opportunity to have been able to be there with you during this important time in your life. And also, I'm grateful that I have freedom to
yeah.
like make choices for myself, and I have time and flexibility. These are all things that I'm grateful for this stage of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about you. You're in it.
We're in it. Yeah.
You're in it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that was our life update. So many life updates, so many things going on in our lives. We were happy to share them all with you. By the way, thank you to everyone who's reached out to congratulate Malika and offer your well wishes.
Yes, there have been some really lovely emails and Instagram messages just welcoming Quincy and saying congratulations. And I really appreciate it.
Very nice. We're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll get into peaks and valleys.
Hey, it's Paris. You know, I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
We are back with peaks and valleys because in life there are always peaks and always valleys. This is an even episode, so Azizi, start us off with a peak.
I'm going to just give my peak to Love Island. I don't know.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. It's not for everyone. I can't stress that enough. My husband was cringing. He could not even be in the same
Mm,
room when I was watching it. But I learned some new vernacular like crashing out. Have you heard someone say that before, Malika?
no, what does it mean?
It means like you're losing it, like you have
Oh,
a meltdown. So, like
okay.
when I hit the wall, I was crashing out.
Okay.
That's what I was doing. That's what the young people say. So, I am going to give a peek to Love Island. That was a lot of fun. What's your valley?
Well, my valley, I guess it's just the valley of recovering from
Yeah.
surgery. So
Mm,
I had a C-section and then I had another surgery after that where they went into the same incision, but then they made it bigger.
mm,
So anyway, you cut it, it's abdominal surgery, but that extra one seems to be like, oh, this is going to make the recovery harder. This is what
mm,
doctors have said to me. The valley is that I need to regulate myself and I have a really hard time doing that. So
mhm.
I think initially in the hospital when I couldn't move or get out of bed, like you can't get out of bed, you can't get out of bed, you're not going to
Right.
get out because you just can't. But now there's a lot of things that I can do physically that I shouldn't be doing because it's counterproductive to my healing
Mm,
and it's causing me to strain in certain ways or use my abdominals. But it's like I'm so used to doing certain things in my own home that it's very difficult for me to stop and ask for help or to step back or to just let the thing go. And I'm realizing I've crashed out a few times,
Mhm.
just feeling frustrated
Yeah,
about that.
yeah,
I'm the one that will lose in the end, right, if I'm not healing well. But
right.
it's very hard to just take it slow and to take it easy because it feels like there's more to do than ever before now.
Mm,
So fortunately, my parents are here, my aunt is here. Like we have scaffolded support.
mhm,
I'm on parental leave, Norma's on parental leave. Like
mm,
I'm not a single parent just trying to get by, like,
right. You have a lot of
with
hands
nobody
there.
helping me. There's so many hands. And
Right,
so a lot of it is just me just asking for what I need or
right.
letting somebody else do the thing.
Mhm.
But I don't like that feeling.
Hmm. I can't imagine. There's so much to be done, and you know what you wanna do, and to then
Right.
not be able to do it, and it's like, you can do it, but you shouldn't do it because it's going
Exactly.
to prolong your healing, and that's really hard.
Exactly. So I'm open to tips if listeners have suggestions around that. If you've recovered from a surgery and had a way to keep yourself in check, I'd love some ideas. But the peak of the valley is that there is great support around and that we have people here with us for another couple weeks.
Also, lean on those preschool parents. Boy, do they wanna help, with the drop-offs and pickups and things like that.
Yeah, that's true. So that brings us to the end of this two-part conversation. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. You can find our show notes in the episode description. And if you like us, please rate, review, and tell a friend. And don't forget to follow us.
Send us a message at happierladies@gmail.com.
Our show was edited by Magnus Bjorgum, and our theme music was created by Wyatt Muncie.
You can find us on Instagram at happierladies and on the web at happierladies.com. All right, Malika, have a happier week.
Have a happier week, Azizi. Bye.
Bye.
What's going on outside? Huh? Let's go see. Bobo. Bobo. It's going to bark. I think there's like a woodpecker out there.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.